For a franchise with a graveyard full of failed quarterback experiments, the Browns finally did something different. They stopped improvising. The hiring of Todd Monken wasn't a move for a system, it was a move for a player. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just a draft prospect to Monken. He was the cornerstone of a plan already underway. The story isn't about a rookie hoping to prove it.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
It's about a head coach with a proven method, a quarterback tailored for that method, and an organization finally acting with long-term conviction. Cleveland's quarterback carousel wasn't just a failure of talent, it was a failure of patience and structure. With Monken at the helm and Sanders entering as a uniquely prepared, mentally advanced rookie, the Browns are rewriting their approach from the ground up. This isn't about wishful thinking, it's about premeditated alignment. For the first time in decades, Cleveland isn't reacting to a quarterback problem. They're building around a quarterback solution. So let's talk about what's really happening in Cleveland, because if this leak is true, it's more than just a personnel decision. It's a full system reboot. Todd Monken didn't walk into the Browns facility as just a head coach. According to this report, he walked in with a name, a plan, and a quarterback already in mind. Shedeur Sanders. Forget the usual draft board drama. Forget who's ranked where by which analyst. This goes way deeper than speculation or hype. The core idea isn't just that Monken likes Sanders. It's that Monken has been watching, evaluating, and preparing to build around him. And that matters, because we've already seen what Monken can do when he gets the right quarterback in the right structure. Go back to Baltimore. That wasn't just a good season for Lamar Jackson. It was a career-defining year. Monken helped unlock an efficiency level that put Jackson in the elite statistical tier most quarterbacks never reach. 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's a 10-to-1 TD-to-INT ratio, a number that gets mentioned in the same breath as Tom Brady's prime seasons. That kind of production doesn't happen by chance. It happens because the system fits. Because the coach builds for the quarterback, not around him. Now take everything Monken did with Jackson and bring it to Shedeur Sanders. The system isn't being recycled, it's being adapted. And it works, because Sanders isn't just another athletic prospect with tools. He's got a completely different profile than Jackson, but one that Monken sees as equally moldable. Elite pre-snap processing. Clean footwork. High-level deep ball accuracy. Advanced progression reading. He's not entering the league needing to learn how to play quarterback. He's entering with a toolkit that already mirrors what Monken wants to run. That's why this plan has teeth. Monken doesn't need to overhaul Shedeur's mechanics. He doesn't need to teach him how to read a defense from scratch. Instead, he can go straight into what matters. The layers of an NFL offense designed to create high-percentage throws, dictate coverage leverage, and force defenses into constant hesitation. That's what his offense did in Baltimore, and it's what he's setting up in Cleveland. Only now with a quarterback who's already ahead in the passing game. What stands out even more is the timeline. The Browns aren't waiting for a meltdown to make a switch. They're not hanging around for a veteran to flame out. They're making the move before the public pressure starts. That's what sets this apart from all the failed QB experiments the Browns have gone through. This isn't reactive, it's proactive. Monken reportedly reached out to Shedeur before the draft. Not after everyone else passed. Not as a scramble play. He made an offer early. He wanted Sanders on the roster even in a backup capacity. And when Sanders declined, because he wasn't interested in being anyone's insurance policy, that didn't shut the door. That opened the next phase. Because it showed Monken exactly what he wanted to see. A quarterback who believed he could lead a team right away. The narrative flips from there. Because Shedeur didn't disappear from Monken's radar. If anything, he became the focal point of a long-term strategy. A quarterback he could continue watching, studying, evaluating. Not from a distance, but with the intent of eventually bringing him into a system that was already taking shape. And now Monken's in the driver's seat. He's not just coordinating anymore. He's building. That means he can finally connect the dots between what he's seen in Sanders over the past few years and what he wants this Cleveland offense to become. There's a reason this pairing is framed as a rare alignment of vision, timing, and talent. The Browns aren't just grabbing the best available player at the position. They're investing in someone who fits their coaching philosophy to the letter. Someone who doesn't need to be taught leadership because he's been groomed for it under Deion Sanders, arguably the most scrutinized coaching figure in college football. That kind of environment prepares you. That kind of environment tests you. Shedeur Sanders didn't just survive it. He excelled in it. And that's why Monken sees more than just traits. He sees readiness. Not just on the field but off of it. Leadership, poise, mental toughness, media composure, franchise face-level maturity. And that's a huge deal in Cleveland, a team that's seen too many promising QBs sink under the weight of instability. Because here's the thing. This isn't just a quarterback development story. It's a culture reset. You can't fix a broken quarterback room with talent alone. You need trust. You need direction. You need a plan that stretches across seasons, not one that folds the moment things go sideways. Monken's approach is rooted in that kind of patience. He didn't panic when Lamar struggled early. He prioritized development over immediate results. He focused on decision-making, timing, and mechanical consistency. He knew what kind of payoff was coming if they stayed the course. And now, with Sanders, the starting point is further along. The developmental arc might actually be shorter. Not because Shedeur is better than Lamar, different tools, different paths, but because the aspects of quarterbacking that usually take the longest to master, Sanders already brings them to the table. That's the leverage point. That's why this pairing could be the reset button Cleveland's been looking for since forever. And let's not ignore how different this is from the usual NFL quarterback story. The fact that Monken was willing to offer a role to Sanders early? That breaks from standard protocol. Most coaches wait for the front office to draft. Monken pursued. That means he was thinking long-term before anyone else even brought Sanders into the conversation. That kind of pre-draft conviction doesn't happen unless a coach sees something special. Not just in the arm but in the mind. And in this case, it lines up perfectly with the type of offensive philosophy Monken has already proven can work at the highest level. So where does this leave Cleveland? With something they haven't had in decades, a real quarterback roadmap. No more dart throws. No more emergency signings. No more top picks wasted on mismatched schemes and short-term desperation. If this plan works, they'll have a homegrown system built from the ground up, around a quarterback who's been evaluated, tracked, and finally handpicked by a coach who knows exactly what he's doing. And that changes everything. It stabilizes the locker room. It gives the fanbase something real to believe in. It turns Cleveland from a cautionary tale into a potential case study for modern quarterback development done right. But what do you think? Is this the turning point Browns fans have been begging for, or just another overpromised story waiting to unravel? Let us know in the comments. Hit like if you're ready to see Cleveland finally break the cycle, share with someone who's been riding the Browns roller coaster way too long, and subscribe to stay locked in. We'll be following this one all the way through. Because if Todd Monken and Shedeur Sanders pull this off, Cleveland might not just have a quarterback, they might have a future. Let's stay in it, because this isn't just a theory anymore. If you've been paying attention, you can see the foundation being laid brick by brick. The Todd Monken, Shedeur Sanders plan isn't built on wishful thinking. It's built on years of observation, alignment of philosophy, and, if this leak is to be believed, an intentional franchise-altering decision to go all in on one guy. The Cleveland Browns have been starved for stability under center since forever. And for just as long they've been playing a game of quarterback roulette. Draft a name, throw him in, hope for magic. Rinse. Repeat. The results? Predictably disastrous. But Monken doesn't deal in panic picks. He doesn't work off vibes. He builds with precision. And the quarterback he's chosen to build around isn't a mystery to him. It's Shedeur Sanders. Why Shedeur? Because Sanders doesn't represent potential in the abstract. He represents alignment. Not just physical ability. Not just intelligence. But someone whose strengths fit the exact profile Monken has proven he can elevate. The comparisons to Lamar Jackson aren't cosmetic. They're about process. Lamar was seen as a runner first, with a passing game that needed development. Monken met him where he was and built around what he did best, eventually sculpting a season that rivaled statistical peaks from some of the game's greatest. With Shedeur, it's the inverse. The footwork is already crisp. The ball placement is already consistent. The timing, the progressions, the mental game, it's all there. Which means Monken can accelerate what he did in Baltimore. He's not starting from scratch. He's building on a polished foundation. And that's why this plan matters. Because in most NFL situations, quarterbacks are expected to adapt to the system. Fit in. Learn the language. Get up to speed or get replaced. But Monken's approach flips that. He adapts the system to the quarterback. He tailors the playbook. He constructs the offensive identity around who's under center, not the other way around. That kind of customization is rare, and it's the exact opposite of what the Browns have done for years. How many times have we watched this team chase the answer at quarterback, only to stick him into a system built for someone else. It's the NFL version of giving someone the keys to a car they've never driven and blaming them when they crash. Monken won't play that game. And that's why Shedeur isn't just a pick. He's the plan. Go back to that draft process. Monken makes an offer. Sanders declines. And instead of moving on, Monken keeps watching. Keeps tracking. That's not a coach looking to fill a depth chart. That's a coach already scouting for his guy, not just for a job but for a system. And when Monken lands the head coaching role in Cleveland, he's no longer just theorizing. He can act. And according to this leak, act he will. What's even more striking is how the Browns are framing this, at least within the analysis. They're not hiding behind smoke and mirrors. They're not telegraphing desperation. They're preparing. They're building an ecosystem that Sanders can thrive in. An ecosystem built on developmental patience, defensive stability, and long-term strategic clarity. Because let's not forget, the Browns already have a defense. They don't need to win games 45-38. They need offensive coherence. They need a quarterback who can grow into the role without being expected to carry everything in year one. Monken knows that. He's coached through that. What this also represents is a fundamental shift in how quarterback readiness is evaluated. Most teams obsess over combined numbers, interviews, and throwing drills. But Monken? He's looking at structure. He's watching the film for mechanics under pressure. Decision-making in motion. Discipline when things break down. And in Sanders, he sees all of that, plus the kind of maturity most rookies don't bring with them. And part of that comes from who raised him. Deion Sanders didn't just build Shedeur as a quarterback, he built him as a leader. As someone who knows how to walk into a room and command it. Someone who doesn't flinch under media pressure. Someone who's already been treated like the face of a franchise because, let's be honest, that's exactly what he's been in college. That preparation matters. A lot of rookies get caught in the storm of NFL expectations. They drown before they ever learn to swim. But Shedeur's been swimming in it already, scrutinized, doubted, pushed. And he's handled all of it without losing focus. Monken sees that too. Because he's not just betting on talent. He's betting on resilience. And when you put that together with Monken's system, a system that thrives on decision-making, quick reads, and precision throws, you start to see the vision. This isn't some magical fantasy where a rookie waltzes in and saves a franchise. This is a calculated progression plan, backed by a coach who's done it before, now working with a quarterback who doesn't need to be reinvented. It's not just coaching. It's stewardship. That's what separates Monken from the rest. He doesn't just develop quarterbacks. He shepherds them through a process that allows them to reach their full potential without being prematurely broken. And that's the exact opposite of what Cleveland has done with their past 10 quarterbacks. That's what makes this moment so important. Because it's not just about what Shedeur could be. It's about the fact that, for the first time in a long time, the Browns seem ready to let someone become something. No more panicked benchings. No more square pegs in round schemes. Just a plan, executed by a coach who knows exactly what he's doing with a quarterback who already checks every box the system requires. That kind of alignment doesn't happen by accident. It's built. It's curated. And if it works, it doesn't just fix Cleveland's quarterback problem. It redefines how modern franchises should approach quarterback development. Because what Monken's doing isn't flashy. It's disciplined. It's replicable. It's modern. It says, pick your guy early. Evaluate over years, not months. Understand what he needs. Build for that. And when the time comes, hand him the keys. Not because you have to, but because you know he's ready. And for the Browns, who have been chasing that formula for decades, this might be the first time they've actually landed on something that isn't built on panic, hype, or guesswork. So now we wait. If this is true, if this isn't just noise or speculation, then 2026 will be more than just another year. It'll be the start of the Monken e. Shedeur era. And maybe, finally, the end of the Browns quarterback carousel. Alright, let's keep digging, because we're not done until we get all the way to the core of this thing. What this video lays out isn't just a speculation piece, it's a direct challenge to the way NFL franchises have approached quarterback development for the last 2 decades. What Todd Monken and the Browns are allegedly preparing with Shedeur Sanders. It's methodical. It's disruptive. And if it actually happens, it's going to make a lot of teams look stuck in the past. Let's be clear, this isn't about hype. It's about alignment. For too long, the Browns have operated in a fog of quarterback chaos. One-year experiments. High picks spent on players who never had a real shot. Coaches and QBs on different timelines. Systems designed with no actual quarterback in mind. You name the quarterback sin, Cleveland's probably committed it, multiple times. But this leak says the Monken regime is cutting all of that off at the root. They're not drafting a quarterback because it's time. They're not hoping someone falls into their lap. They're not recycling another veteran to bridge the gap. They're picking one guy, someone they've already evaluated over a multi-year span, and building everything around him. And that guy is Shedeur Sanders. What stands out most isn't just that Monken sees potential in Sanders. It's that he sees the exact traits that his system thrives on, and even more importantly, he sees them at a more advanced stage than he did with Lamar Jackson. Think about that. Lamar had to evolve into the efficient passer he became. Monken's system helped unlock that. But Shedeur? He already shows those passing traits. Refined mechanics, consistent footwork, a clean release, confidence going through reads. It's not about rebuilding him from the ground up, it's about plugging him into a system that matches who he already is. This is quarterback development as engineering, not guesswork. And look, there's no pretending Shedeur is Lamar. They're different players, different strengths. But that's the whole point. Monken doesn't recycle blueprints. He builds new ones tailored to the QB in front of him. With Lamar, the system leaned into mobility, play action, quick reads with deep shot wrinkles. With Shedeur, you get more pro-style rhythm passing, layered concepts, and vertical timing. Different foundations, same philosophy. Build the system to fit the quarterback, not the other way around. Let's talk about what that means in practical terms. If this leak is right, Monken doesn't see Sanders as a developmental gamble. He sees him as the centerpiece of an ecosystem. One where the timing of the Browns roster actually supports this kind of transition. They already have a defense. They already have foundational talent. What they've lacked is coherence. And you don't get coherence by scrambling to fill quarterback holes every year. You get it by making one big bet, and backing that bet with structure. That's what the video argues Cleveland is doing. They're betting that Shedeur's skills aren't just NFL caliber, they're Monken system caliber. That his mental game is far enough along that you don't have to baby him. That his experience under Dion in a high-pressure college spotlight has hardened him against the mental collapse that ruins so many first-round QBs. And that's not nothing. Most rookie quarterbacks enter the league not just learning new playbooks, but learning how to be professional quarterbacks. Media pressure, leadership expectations, locker room politics. It crushes guys. But Shedeur? He's been living in that world. He's not walking into the NFL as some wide-eyed kid. He's walking in like he knows what's expected, and he's expecting it of himself too. Now add that to Monken, who doesn't panic when things go wrong, who knows how to structure offensive growth, who doesn't get swayed by week-to-week media noise. You get a system that protects its quarterback mentally, even while asking a lot of him schematically. That's development done right. And it's what this leak says is coming. Let's not forget, Monken tried to bring Shedeur in before the draft. That's one of the most important details here. That kind of pre-draft offer isn't about building a depth chart. That's a message: we see you. We're watching. We believe you're the future. Sanders turning it down didn't kill the idea, it reinforced it. He knew he was ready for more. And Monken respected that. That's what makes this so rare. It's not just that the quarterback is confident. It's that the coach doesn't resent that confidence, he matches it. That's mutual conviction. And in the NFL, that's how you build something real. And this is where the narrative gets even more layered. Because the Browns' historical quarterback instability wasn't just bad luck. It was systemic. It was a revolving door of offensive coordinators, conflicting philosophies, and unrealistic expectations. Quarterbacks weren't developed, they were tested, and when they failed the first test, they were discarded. But this time? If this leak is right, that's over. Monken doesn't do one and done. He doesn't pull the plug after 2 bad starts. He's already shown that with Lamar. He'll ride through the interceptions, the misreads, the slow starts, as long as the development curve is upward. And with Shedeur, he's not just expecting development, he's planning for it. That means protections tailored to give him a clean pocket. Routes that build confidence early in games. Game plans that evolve as he grows. That's what Shedeur is being handed. A system that sees him as a long-term asset, not a test subject. And when you look at what this could mean for the Browns, it's massive. Because if they get it right, if Shedeur Sanders becomes the starter in 2026 and delivers in a Monken design system, it's not just a success story. It's a blueprint. A playbook for how to do it differently. How to stop the quarterback carousel. How to stop drafting out of fear or hype. How to choose one guy and build like you mean it. That's the heart of this whole thing. Not just belief in Shedeur, but belief in a new way of doing business in Cleveland. The Browns have cycled through quarterbacks for so long that fans have become numb. But this is hope rooted in process. Hope that's been scouted, built, and now possibly leaked. And if it turns out to be true, we'll look back at this as the moment Cleveland stopped spinning its wheels and finally started driving in one direction. So let's bring this home, because at this point, what's unfolding in Cleveland is no longer just a strategy. It's a statement. The Browns aren't asking for another second chance at the quarterback position. They're declaring war on everything that's held them back. The carousel, the chaos, the endless resets. This alleged plan to make Shedeur QB1 by 2026 isn't just about finding the next guy. It's about ending the search entirely. That's why Todd Monken matters so much here. He's not a placeholder. He's not here to try something new. He's here to install a philosophy, not just a playbook. One where quarterbacks don't adapt to schemes, they define them. And Shedeur in this system with this coach isn't just a promising rookie waiting his turn. He's being treated, quietly but clearly, as the centerpiece of the Browns' next era. This isn't a rebuild. It's a realignment. Because Shedeur brings more than stats and traits. He brings intentionality. Every part of his game, his footwork, his reads, his control of the pocket, screams preparation. That's not hype. That's structure. That's coaching. And Monken, who has already proven he can elevate a quarterback to MVP-level production, knows how rare it is to find someone who's already wired that way before stepping foot into an NFL locker room. You can't manufacture that. You can only recognize it when you see it. And from the draft contact to the declined backup role, to the rumored developmental runway Cleveland is laying out, Monken has seen it. And now he's betting on it. The Browns aren't just hoping this works. If the reporting is accurate, they're engineering it to work. They've got the defense to protect a young quarterback. They've got a coach with a proven track record of system building around unique skill sets. And now they've potentially got a quarterback who's not raw, not erratic, but refined, steady, and mentally dialed in. It's the perfect storm, if they stay patient. And that's the part everyone's watching. Will Cleveland finally commit to a process that takes time? Will they let Monken and Shedeur cook, even if the early returns are quiet? Or will they revert to the same quick-trigger culture that swallowed every promising QB since 1999? That's what's at stake here. Not just a season. A full-blown cultural reset. So what do you think? Are the Browns finally turning the page for real, or are we gearing up for another chapter in the same old book? Drop your thoughts below. Hit like if you're ready to see Cleveland build with a quarterback instead of searching for one. Share with a Browns fan who's seen it all and still dares to believe. And subscribe, because if this plan holds, if Shedeur becomes the guy, it won't just change the Browns. It'll change the way the league develops quarterbacks. For good.